Almost simultaneously with the emergence of the Safavid Empire, another Muslim polity was developing in South Asia. The Mughal Empire, which would rule a largely Hindu population and adhere, for the most part, to a tolerant Sunni Islam, was recently founded by Timurid Babur. Babur's son Humayun was ousted from his Hindustan territories by the Pashtun Sher Shah Suri and threatened by his half-brother and bitter rival Kamran Mirza, who had inherited the northern part of Babur's territories. Having to flee from city to city, Humayun eventually sought refuge at the court of Tahmāsp. Tahmāsp received Humayun at his court in Qazvin in 1543 as the true emperor of the Mughal dynasty, despite the fact that Humayun had been living in exile for more than 15 years. After Humayun converted to Shia Islam, under extreme duress, Tahmāsp offered him military assistance to regain his territories in return for Kandahar, which controlled the overland trade route between central Persia and the Ganges. In 1545 a combined Persian-Mughal force managed to seize Kandahar and occupy Kabul. Humayn handed over Kandahar, but Tahmāsp was forced to retake it in 1558, when Humayun seized it on the death of the Safavid governor. Legacy of Shah Tahmāsp. When the young Shah Tahmāsp took the throne, Persia was in a dire state. But despite of a weak economy, a civil war and foreign wars on two fronts, Tahmāsp managed to retain his crown and maintain the territorial integrity of the empire, although much reduced from Ismail's time. During the first 30 years of his long reign, he was able to suppress the internal divisions by exerting control over a strengthened central military force. In the war against the Uzbeks he showed that the Safavids had become a gunpowder empire. His tactics in dealing with the Ottoman threat eventually allowed for a treaty which preserved peace for 20 years. In cultural matters, Tahmāsp presided the revival of the fine arts, which flourished under his patronage. Safavid culture is often admired for the large-scale city planning and architecture, achievements made during the reign of later Shahs, but the arts of Persian miniature, bookbinding and calligraphy, in fact, never received as much attention as they did during his time. Tahmāsp also planted the seeds that would, unintentionally, produce change much later. During his raids into the Caucasus he captured large number of Georgians, Circassians, and Armenians, who became military slaves. Although the first slave soldiers would not be organized until the reign of Abbasi, during Tahmāsp's time Caucasians would become important members of the royal household, harem, and in the civil and military administration. One of Tahmāsp's sisters married a Circassian, who would use his court office to team up with Tahmāsp's daughter, Pari-Kha with Makran and Khnum to assert themselves in succession matters after Tahmāsp's death. After the Peace of Amasia, Tahmāsp underwent what he called a sincere repentance. Tahmāsp at the same time removed his son Ismail from his Qizilbash followers and imprisoned him at Kakaha. Moreover, he began to strengthen Shia practice by such things as forbidding in the new capital of Qazvin poetry and music which did not esteem Ali and the 12 Imams. He also reduced the taxes of districts that were traditionally Shia, regulated services in mosques and engaged Shia propagandists and spies. Extortion, intimidation, and harassment were practiced against Sunnis. When Tahmāsp died in 984/1576, Persia was calm domestically, with secure borders and no imminent threat from either the Uzbeks or the Ottomans. What remained unchanged, however, was the constant threat of local disaffection with the weak central authority. That condition would not change, and in fact it would worsen, until Tahmāsp's grandson, Abbasi, assumed the throne.